Hello guys, thanks for jumping on this little short video today that I've put together. Hope you're all doing well, your family's doing well in these crazy times. Hope you're keeping safe and self-isolated, and I hope it's not a massive impact too much on your businesses. Hope you're all doing well and struggling. Hopefully you'll get some value from what I'm about to cover in this little short video. Right, what I'll do, I'll jump straight into it. What today I'm going to kind of talk about is how brands can utilize just innovative marketing channels just to adapt to these challenging times, how they can grow and hopefully future-proof your brand in the future. What I'm going to cover 5 key elements today. What I'm going to do probably after this video that I put together, I'm probably going to do over the next few weeks more in-depth videos on each of the 5 key points. So the first thing we'll talk about today is how to utilize social digital to influence customer behavior. I'm going to go through how customer behavior has changed over the past 15 years, a couple of decades, where it's evolved to where it is today and where it's going to change, just so you can make sure that these things are in your thinking when putting together your digital strategy, your social strategy, your influencer strategy. What I'm going to talk about too, secondly, I'm going to talk about utilising artificial intelligence and effective audience mapping to target customers, develop an appetite and convert. People are online at the minute. They're doing most of the shopping online, browsing. So hopefully this will help you. 3, developing an appetite for your brand, products and services through targeted remarketing and quality over quantity content. 4th, the importance of creating your tribe and how this can develop customer loyalty, ongoing repeat business and free mass marketing. And then the 5th thing I want to talk about is just the power of digital influencers to create awareness, build trust and convert your target audience into consumers. Again, what I'll do after this video, I've gone through everything. I will look to go into things in a bit more detail. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to go a bit of an introduction of who I am, who we are, what we do, just so you can understand a little bit about us. So we're a small team of social influencer digital experts. We've been going for about 5.5 years now. We're based in Manchester and we work with a range of different brands of different sizes. We work with small e-commerce businesses up to your large blue chip companies as well, from a range of sectors, from home interest, supermarkets, construction, home improvement. We just live and breathe all things relating to social influencer. And what we've done is we have a massive passion and desire to help brands reach the potential. A brand will come to us and we want to scale them upwards, turn their sales 5, 10, 16, 20, 30, 40, 100 times fold. Everything that we do in terms of social media, influencer marketing, we all look at the end goal and results. We measure ourselves on pounds made, not impressions, reach, engagements. But when we run a campaign on influencers or social media, we know exactly how much that turns into. And that's hopefully why we've grown to where we are today. Some of the brands that we work with, so we do work with a lot of home interest brands, such as Urcol, Tetrad, British Design Shop, Barstools, Friendship Furniture Paint, Rapturous. A lot of home interest brands as well, such as Dunraven, who do conservatory orangeries. We do a lot with developing leads for them, and also we work with a lot of the brands that you would have heard of, such as Aldi on their influencer campaigns, JCB on their social, Cross Country Trains on their influencer campaigns, Gola on their influencers, and Warner Leisure Hotels. So we work with. They're just a few examples of some of the brands that we work with, just to kind of give you a bit of a scope of why you should listen to us, some of the information we'll go through today. Again, when I'm going through all this, I'll drop my email somewhere, so you can drop me an email if you've got any questions on the content of today. Again, feel free to comment below, or if there's anywhere on here to comment. And again, I'll answer questions as many as best as I can. Hopefully you find this video useful. We've put it together quite quickly, just over the past few days, just to try and help out brands who are struggling with kind of how to just make sense of everything at the minute and how they can, just keep on pushing forward in these difficult times to keep things adapted, keep things growing. So first of all, what I'm going to talk about is the effects of social and digital on the customer buying cycles. Uh, how do your customers kind of behave compared to 15 years ago? So what we've seen is an evolution in consumer behaviour as customers go more digital in the past 15 years. In just 15 years, what we've gone from this like kind of linear, straight-lined retail focus market, where it was just the high street was massive. Shops, going around visiting shops was a big part of everyday life, to today's kind of digital centric model of customer behaviour. The way we shop for products now is just drastically different from the way we shopped 15 years ago. 15 years ago, Blockbuster was still about, people hiring DVDs, VHS copies in store. Now that's just a completely different model. MySpace was competing with Facebook for traffic. Facebook was competing with MySpace more like for traffic. That was just 15 years ago. Amazon was primarily known for selling books, and the iPhone was just released. So that's just 15 years ago. What we've gone is from a primitive world of shopping to this consumer experience that we have today in this digital age. What we've kind of seen is a decline in the high street in shops. Brands that have been slow adopters to digital, marketing, the way they sell to the customers, how personal they are, have kind of fallen behind. Brands that have stuck well on the high street, and because there is still a place on the high street, is brands that have offered that shopping experience. That's what it's about now. People will go outside, go shopping. It's an experience. If it's just a purchase and a price thing, they're going to go online to do it. So it is essential for stores to have this great shopping experience. And that model is actually gone online as well, where if brands are not offering a great online experience, then consumers will leave them and drop them and go to someone who does. So this is why online is just so great. That's why Amazon's so good, because of their shopping experience that they've done. So what I'm going to go through is the human analytics, just some interesting research that kind of looks at a few paradigms in terms of the customer behaviour, just so you can see how things have changed and to why online is so important now, what you can do. So first of all, 15 years ago, this was this flat linear model. There's just very rare stimulus in terms of information you could get. A customer would see a TV ad, a radio ad, a print ad, which would cause a reaction. Had a call to action on it. People would then visit a store, compare, say, 10 different brands and types, and the customer would need to make a decision on which one to purchase there and then. They have to consider several factors when making a decision. For example, furniture. They went to a furniture shop. They had to look at the fabric description, compare a few prices. They kind of didn't have a lot of information. It was limited. Fast forward to 2011, we call this stage zero moment of truth. This is kind of where people started to have access to smartphones and the internet. Digital channels such as websites, social media really, really, really started to influence the customer decision process. Search marketing, Facebook ads, it really started to impact the customer decision process. People will go beyond the shelf when evaluating a product. They'd look at online reviews, what people were saying about the brand. They compare different prices. They might not actually even visit a store. They could do it all from the comfort of the home. And this is the first stage in the framework that emphasizes the importance of digital channels as a critical part of the customer decision process. What we saw here as well is early adopters to digital really did take up a lot of market share from like traditional older brands. This is where you saw brands who offered that online experience and did it well and did the social media well really, really make a lot of money here. And then fast forward to today, the accelerated journey. So this is where we're at now. And this is probably, where brands have started to adopt social media, adopt influencer, adopt all these different marketing channels. And this is a kind of a customer decision process now, how it stands. Customers made aware, they consider it, then make the purchase, they get the service, and then loyalty is built. So as you can see, all the different digital and physical touch points there's quite a lot of information now what customers gets. There's so many ways a customer can use digital channels to get access to information to assist with the purchase journey. They can look at search, online, email, content, reviews, community. However, what this has probably done is now we've got too much information. So this is where personalization makes a massive difference in terms of marketing to people. All this information has meant that the human attention span's actually gone less than a goldfish, lasting about 8 seconds. The customer's evaluation cycle now is significantly crunched from a stage of multiple days or hours to a matter of minutes or seconds. So it's all about now offering that really personal experience and providing the right information at the right time to the customer to convert them into a purchase. If that's not done well, the customer will go to a different brand who does do it well. And what we're seeing there is slow adopters now are being left behind. People who don't offer that personalized approach, who don't give that best information, who don't have a good synced up user experience for the customers. And it's just a few interesting statistics just on how important online is. Channels such as social media, Facebook ads, email, influencers. 93% of online buying decisions are now influenced by social media, which is crazy. And 65% of consumers look up price comparisons on mobile when in a physical store. So mobile has just opened up, so much information to people that it's just grown into this paradigm. Gone are the days of trapezing around the endless aisles of stores. Shoppers are now becoming more comfortable with buying online. In fact, as many as 7 out of 10 consumers now shopping this way. You can see how this has affected the home interest sector, with interiors and online furniture pieces now growing the quickest of all online retail sales. Now, this furniture has been really a traditional, it has been slow adopters to online. People in the sector have been really reliant on the stores, thinking that customers would come in, need to look, touch, feel a sofa, say, for example, before purchasing. However, that's moving now. And what we're seeing is actually people are becoming more comfortable with purchase online. And we can see here how it's growing in terms of revenue. So some other sectors where this is happening is groceries. Year-on-year growth of online purchases, 33%. Year-on-year with furniture as well. Luxury beauty products, 47% year-on-year. And this just isn't amongst young people. It's not just young people who are adopting purchasing things online. It's actually other age groups too. So we're seeing 25 to 34-year-olds, the biggest percentage of them are doing it. But also other age groups are as well, 35 to 44-year-olds, 45 to 54-year-olds, 55 to 64-year-olds. So what we're seeing is as all these age groups become more comfortable with digital, they purchase online as well more. Generation X, this is where people are born between 1966 and 1981, are actually make more online purchases than any other age group, averaging nearly 19 transactions a year. So it's not just your under 30s, it's your millennials as well, your Gen X, your baby boomers who are purchasing online. Again, here, some stats in terms of online furniture sales and how people are now becoming more comfortable with purchasing such a product which was just traditionally not purchased online. And an example of a brand that does this is IKEA, who've switched massively to online recently. They were previously reliant on printed brochures and people visiting the stores, and they've become quickly to recognise the importance of digital. They've adopted a lot into their marketing, such as digital innovations, such as the augmented reality, where you can pick up a mobile phone and see what products actually look like in your home. They've seen UK sales rise by 8% to now 2.1 billion. And what I'm saying is it's not just online. It is important to join up bricks and clicks. There is still a space on the high street, for stores, shops, but it's important to join up your bricks and clicks. It's becoming more common for shoppers to buy online, but this doesn't mean that stores are redundant. It's still important for stores, to ensure there's an experience For most people, purchasing is still a cross-channel experience. Bricks and mortar stores play an important role in helping customers check the quality and feel of products such as furniture. It is an experience though. And there's three kind of different things here. There's web rooming, showrooming, researching. Web room is kind of where people research online and buy in store. Showrooming, where people look at products in store then buy online. And researching, where people purchase, spend a long time searching for the perfect piece and then transact it online. So what's next? Bill Gates said we always overestimate the change that will occur in the next 2 years and underestimate the change that will occur in the next 10 years. What we're going to see now and in the next 10 years is marketing is just going to become more competitive. So there's a lot of kind of a few years ago, early adopters of social media ads, Facebook ads, influencer marketing took up a lot of market share because they took advantage of first movers. Now, as brands become more used to social media ads, allocating a lot of their marketing spend to it, it's now becoming more competitive. Many brands have entered the market and taken market share from established brands. And what's happened is gone at a time where we could just advertise and they'll come. What you need to do now is imperative. It's so important to be able to stand out from the noise. Because what we tend to see is by the year 2040, as much as 95% of all shopping will be facilitated by e-commerce. And what's going to be next, massively, why I've kind of gone through all these different paradigms, is how customer-centric personalised marketing is going to be so important. Now, brands are going to need to utilise the data that they have and all the tools at their disposal to be able to make ultra personalised customer experience. The more personalised you can make it, the better. Customers are going to go more and more digital each year, and it's not just young people. If brands can make the use of data and be personalised, great. That'll help you stand out from the crowd. So the four things, which are the next, is going to be social selling, artificial intelligence, ultra personalisation, and dynamic influencer marketing. So I'm going to kind of touch upon these four things. First of all is social commerce. This is kind of the dawn of a new digital era where social platforms have been testing, deploying new direct selling functionality that's going to let brands create social content, which can actually lead to a quick social paced purchase. For example, Instagram product catalog, shoppable stores. Last year, what we saw is 500 of the top retailers earned roughly 6.5 billion from social shopping alone. What we're going to see is more customers. In the past, it was stores. If you didn't have a website, then people were slow adopters of getting a website. And now we know today how important the website is to do online sales. What the next thing is things will move over to social, where there won't be really much of a need for a website because the whole purchase could be made completely through social. And what we're seeing with social selling is there's actually a 24% year-over-year increase. According to a consumer survey by Avios, 55% of shoppers have made a purchase through social media within the past year, and this is going to grow further. I'm just going to have a drink. Bear with me. Why social selling is getting more and more important really is it's always been a problem for websites in terms of basket abandonments. It's a challenge for all brands. An average is 72% of customers leave behind their order instead of buying online. From delivery demands to the trend for dual screening, online shoppers are more distracted than ever. So the more we can do that whole purchase just through one platform, the better. If people can discover the products on Instagram, through influencer content, things like that, and then purchase there and then, that's going to be huge. So the number of consumers have placed high importance on the ability to discover and purchase through social media platforms such as Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest has risen 38% year on year, according to research. So kind of what we're seeing is over the years. So this is really important. What you can do with now in these current times is make sure you start adopting some of these into your practices. Make sure you're starting to do social selling, because there's a lot of people now online, on social, on Instagram, on Facebook. They've got a lot more time, having a good presence here. Even if they're not purchasing now, you're building your tribe, you're building your community to, when all this passes, to be able to be in a good position to sell. According to a survey of more than 2,000 consumers across the UK, US, France and Germany, 1/3 of UK consumers now express the ability to discover and buy products as a critical importance to their experience of social platforms. So making sure you've got a great social experience is important. Make sure you've got good content, make sure it's personalised. Today's brands are now starting to think of social media as a sales platform, and the consumers are using social content as a discovery tool for new, exciting products, especially products that fall into a lifestyle category. Brands now, you need to reshape the e-commerce social media strategy just by thinking how increasing how importance is playing and driving sales. All the signs now point to continued growth with this social commerce, to social media's increasingly central role in retail. So again, what this is kind of could lead to the end of websites. Over the next few years, you might see, excuse me, more and more tools adopted into Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, just where the consumer can just transact massively, wholly, just through that one platform. Is there a need to click off onto a website to finish the purchase, or can you just complete that whole purchase in one platform? The ability to sell products directly through social, there's a few different examples. We're seeing this now, such as on Instagram. We can do Instagram product tagging. There's no need to visit a website to purchase. What it means is there's just less drop-off points. And what you can do as well is, what influencers are doing now is, social media, Facebook, Instagram have allowed this, is influencer content is now shoppable, where you can see content that an influencer's talked about and you can purchase that product directly through that social platform. Shoppable storytelling. This is going to grow even further on Pinterest, Facebook, Instagram. And what's going to happen as well is you're going to see more social payments. Recently, Facebook unveiled a new payment system that will compete against Google Pay and Apple Pay. There are currently 8.4 million British consumers shopping via social media, with Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat being the most popular channels. What we're going to look now is that you could purchase directly through Facebook, Instagram. The next thing I'm going to talk about, again, if you've got any questions on social selling, what I'll just run through there. Again, what I'm doing is trying to go over a bit of an overview of things you can look to adopt into your strategy in these certain times. Making sure you've got a good social commerce strategy in place is important. Don't just rely on your website. Make sure you've got social other channels in place. The next important thing that I'm going to talk about is artificial intelligence. This is massive. This has given us the ability to actually target the right person at the right time, in the right place, the right product. Social media, for all its greatness, all its drawbacks, what it's the best for is really the data it's collecting on people. I know it's not nice, there's all these documentaries about them, but the amount of data Facebook, Instagram, these other social media channels has on you is great for marketers, great for business owners, because you're able to target people who have the exact need for your product. Utilising artificial intelligence. I'll start again with that one. Utilising artificial intelligence and effective audience mapping to target your customers. That's what I'm going to cover about now. On average, social media channels have about 5,000 data points on you, based on your behavior online, based on what you do on social media channels, what you do on Facebook, Instagram, to even what you do on other websites and apps. There's different bits of code, such as the Facebook pixel, all these different websites, and that monitors your customer behavior. All that information is then fed to these social channels to help out marketers and what they do. Data has now become the most valuable resource. It's no longer oil, it's data. It's the fuel of the future. And what I'm going to do now is kind of go through how artificial intelligence has an impact on each stage of the customer journey. So if you imagine the first stage is attract. You're a brand, you want to attract your target audience. Once you attract that right person to your website, social channels, you then need to educate them into a purchase. You need to tell them why you're the best product, what need your product suffices. Once you've done that, it's all about converting them. Once you've converted them, it's retaining them customers, upselling them, cross-selling them, building that loyalty. So the first thing we'll talk about is the attract stage, reaching new and exciting customers. How this works is kind of like with the Facebook pixel, which is a bit of code which is on all these different websites. Based on your customer behavior, this builds up different profiles on people. And there's three. So with all this data, it enables you then, when you're building a campaign on social media, to target your ideal customer. Here's a few different examples of the audiences in terms of how you can target people. The first one is interest-based. So this is where you can target people based on their interests and demographics. So again, based on people's customer behavior, what sites they're looking at, where they're visiting, all the behaviors then compiled on these profiles, and you can target people based on their interests. That's massively powerful. That's kind of why Facebook, Instagram's free. You're the product. The more information you feed it from your behavior, the more targeted it can be. It's great for marketers because we can target people based on their behavior. Someone's interested in gym equipment. We can target people based on that. Someone's interested in sofas. We can target people who are interested in sofas. People who, even to the point where we can target new parents with baby products. It's the power is in the data. Also, what you can do is target people in custom audiences. You can target people based on if they're a current customer. So you can upload current customer email lists to Facebook, Instagram, and target your current customers. You can target people based on the website behavior, who's engaged with certain pages, and give them personalized information. But the real power when it comes to this artificial intelligence is lookalike audiences. This is where you can target people similar to your customers, based on actions on your website. So, for example, say if you had if you were a baby clothing brand, and you wanted to find more customers, you could upload your customer list into Facebook, into the ad manager, and you could ask Facebook to create an audience of people who look like them people based on their behavior. And that is artificial intelligence, it working. It goes out there, it's finding. But you can also do it on different triggers on the website. You could have your purchase trigger on the website and ask Facebook to find more people who look like the people who are purchasing, find more people who are looking like the people who are adding to the cart, find more people who are visiting my website. And it does the work for you. And what we tend to see across all the campaigns is the lookalike audiences perform a lot better than the interest-based audiences, because the interest-based, we're kind of telling Facebook and Instagram and all these other channels who we think our customer is, where really the lookalike audiences are telling us, no, this is who your customers are based on their behavior. Here's an example of an interest audience, where you can build a profile out. Sample Sally, for example. She's 38, married, she's an interior designer, she lives in London, shops at Debenhams. You can build a profile when it comes to interest-based audiencing. Custom audiences. This is where you can see what she's viewed, the product search she's done, if she's added to the cart, initiated checkout, she made a purchase, completed a form. And all this data from these customer audiences enables you to create different lookalike audiences. Again, what I was talking about, you create lookalike audiences of people who visited your site, lookalike audiences of buyers, lookalike audience of behaviors. And this is where artificial intelligence is really at its best, because it's going out there. And the more data it has, the more clever it gets. So for example, say if you have all the triggers on your website, so you have your pixel and your add to cart, your checkout, your purchase, the more people who then, say if you create a campaign going, right, I want to do a lookalike of all the people that have purchased, and then you set that campaign going, saying in Facebook ads, Instagram ads to them people, the more people who then come onto the website, purchase, check out, trigger them pixels, that data then goes back into Facebook, into that artificial intelligence, and it gets more and more intelligent. What all this does is enables you to send the right message to the right audience at the right time to convert them into a customer. It's ultra personalized. It's not generic, because you can target people based on their actual behavior. So say if you see people dropping off at the add to cart stage, you can deliver them the right message. If you see someone who's looked at a certain product on your website, you can actually provide them with this artificial intelligence information based on that product. It's ultra personalized. It's not generic. And that's where this artificial intelligence is powerful. Utilising AI to find the people to reach your objectives. An example of the brand's Barstools. Using interest audiences, you could, go, right, well, basically I'll tell you a bit about Barstools first. Barstools do sheepskin footstools. So if you were targeting people based on their interests, you could go, right, build a profile of people interested in sheepskin, interior design, footstools. They're an engaged shopper, they like doing it online. You could build that profile up on Facebook and Instagram and target ads to them people, content, things like that, images, influencer content to convert them. However, what you could do as well is create lookalike audiences where you could get data on people who've purchased, upload that into Facebook and target people based on people who've purchased. What Facebook will do is look at that data of people who've purchased and find people similar to them. And you could do that at different trigger points as well. You could have your add to cart pixel. So everyone that's adding to the cart, you can find people similar to them, because that if they're doing an action like that they look like they're going to be a customer. Same with checkout, same with website traffic. Let's have a quick drink. And again, what we tend to see is these lookalike audiences that utilize artificial intelligence works really well. So again, that attract stage is at the top of your funnel. Okay, so that's where artificial intelligence works well, at the top of the funnel. Use the data that you've got to create lookalike audiences, make the most of that artificial intelligence on social to be able to have that running, targeting new customers on an ongoing basis. That then drives into the social channels, your website, your apps. Once they're there, this is where then you need to educate them into a purchase. Only 2% of first-time site visits are actually going to convert into a purchase. That means 98% of your traffic won't convert into a purchase straight away. Therefore, it's essential to have a detailed education strategy. So 81% say social helps them research products, services, things like that before making a purchase. So it's imperative to have this in place. Gone are the times to shout the loudest to the most people. It's not enough anymore. Now it's all about getting the perfect message to the perfect customer at the perfect time to educate them into a purchase of your product or service. And this is where utilising artificial intelligence, tracking software and great content to deliver the right message can help out massively. It's basic personalisation en masse with different paths, with different personalised messages dependent on the customer actions. It's not just having one campaign. So say like going back to your Attract, you've got your campaign running at the top. You're probably testing a range of different things. You're testing audiences, you're testing content, you're testing which artwork works, you're testing what copy works. Once you're getting them to engage and down onto your website, once they're there, it's not just giving the people that come onto your website just one message, one bit of content, one bit of this, one bit of that. It's actually having thousands of variations of content, of copy, of things like that, so that you can provide each one with a personalized message based on their actions. And this is, at this stage, this is where we educate the various audiences into the various benefits of the product, the service, the brand, based on their actions. You could have one person that's viewed a product and then left. So you could market particular information on that product to that person. Someone could have added to the cart and then dropped it off. So they need different messages based on their behavior. And someone could then have just gone through the whole journey and purchased the product. So they need to get different messages, to upsell them, cross-sell them, get them to leave reviews. Here's just a few short examples of some personas. You could have a persona of someone who's visited your website. They've looked at some products, looked at different products. So they need to be delivered with a certain message. People that have shown interest in a particular range, so they need to be shown information based on that, more about that range. You could have people who've dropped off at a certain stage of the buying process, such as the checkout stage, so they could get particular messages to convert them. People could have looked at the site a number of times but haven't purchased. This could be a number of reasons. Again, you could test different content using artificial intelligence there. People have purchased, so it needs to be upsell, cross-sold. And again, 6, purchase, where we can find more people similar to that person. For your campaign to be effective, it's important to hit that sweet spot between too soon and what's that again. You do that through quality over quantity content. So if you do artificial intelligence right, you could have all these content triggers all set up in place, where as soon as someone looks at a certain product, they're delivered with the right content on social that's going to convert them. Again, going back to what I said before, personalization here is key. This is the power of effective remarketing. Static retargeting is just, having a small group of fixed ads, fixed content, fixed information about your product. So as soon as someone comes onto the site, has a bit of a browse, they're all delivered with the same stuff. That can work. The stats show that does work, but being more personalized and dynamic, based on their activity, this is where it's shifting to. Things have evolved now. It would have been fine with doing static remarketing with just a few different ads. Now you can do it dynamically, where it's completely based on the behavior on the website. And again, when doing that content, through artificial intelligence, that dynamic remarketing, it's ensuring your content either inspires, educates, entertains. Never sell on social. Never sell. People aren't there on social to be sold to, especially with UK customers. In America and other countries, it's more in your face. It's more buy now, this price. The UK customer's different. They kind of need to be they need to come to the decision that they've made that decision themselves when purchasing a product. And you do that through content that entertains, educates, and inspires. Quick little drink again. I hope you're finding all this information useful, by the way. Again, if there's too much information, I'll try to break it up into more shorter videos and in more depth. And again, any feedback that you've got on this little quick video, greatly appreciated. Just drop me an email. The email will be below. Right, so again, what artificial intelligence does on social, it enables you to experiment constantly. Real-time testing and optimization. You can have a range of audiences running, a range of content running, and it's in real time where you can see what's performing good. Back in the day, you'd have to have put together some content, some ads, put them into magazines, television, and it was either it worked or it didn't. Now, as soon as that data starts running through, you can see which one performs best. You can test copy, test images, and through artificial intelligence, it can actually push forward the best performing ones. So it kind of does the marketing for you, the optimization for you, allowing you to get the best cost per conversion and the overall ROI. So it's all about building, managing, testing, optimizing, and that's what artificial intelligence can do for you. There's kind of three main pillars to having a successful campaign. It's testing multiple audiences, testing multiple content and creative, and testing multiple placements. And all that data, as soon as you go launch that campaign, you can optimize it from the get-go. You can test multiple audiences, interest targeting, custom audience, lookalike audiences, testing multiple pieces of content, multiple placements. And all this information in the attract and the education stage should then hopefully help with converting into a customer. Once you've converted them into a customer, retain them, keep them. So many brands that I work with or start to work with or we have conversations with put probably 99% of their efforts into attracting and educating and forget about retaining the customers, building loyalty, upselling, cross-selling. That stage is so important. Develop loyalty with your customers, upsell them, cross-sell them. There's a 60 to 70% probability of selling to an existing customer compared to just 5 to 20% chance of selling to a new prospect. Customer retention can decrease the expense of the business as it requires 6 to 7 more to acquire a new customer. So focus here on upsell, cross-selling. Here again, you can deliver personalized ads based on the previous purchases using artificial intelligence. If they've purchased a certain product, you can have content going to that customer to upsell them on ranges which will go with that. If you're a furniture brand and they purchase a sofa, based on this artificial intelligence social, you could then remarket to them associated products, the armchair which goes with it, things like that. Because if you've done a good service, delivered a good product, they're primed to purchase from you again. All this does then is it builds loyalty, and it's in what we see as well with social and customer behaviour is using loyalty programs. They really work really well to encourage repeat purchase and increase customer lifetime value. Reward your customers. A study by Bond shows that 81% of customers continue shopping with the same brand because of a loyalty program. Static report by Bond suggests that 66% of customers shopping based on the benefits of a loyalty program, and 73% of customers are more likely to recommend a brand with a good loyalty program. So it'd be interesting to know how many of you brands out there or people listening to this are doing a loyalty program, to keep customers coming back, rewarding customers. So if you could comment below if you have. The next stage is tribe, where you can turn your customers into a tribe of marketeers for your brand. What influences mobile purchasing decisions is word of mouth more than anything. You can see this on friends, emails from companies, online ads, Facebook, but friends influences people's behaviour more than anything. 78% of people trust peer recommendations, with only 14% of consumers trusting branded advertising. 81% of consumers trust the advice of family and friends over businesses, and 30% of online consumers have posted product feedback online. So what that shows is the importance of people recommending your product and service and your brand. So you need to encourage that. You need to encourage that word of mouth marketing. People are very quick to complain if you've had a bad service, a bad product, and they're not quick to encourage, quick to praise. So it's really important to encourage that. So what you want to be doing is converting people into customers. And once you've turned them into a customer, turn them into an advocate of your brand. Get them to encourage them to leave reviews, encourage them to upload user-generated content on Instagram and Facebook. Reward it. Say if you upload a product picture, you'll get a discount off your next purchase. If you leave a review, you could enter into a competition. Just fuel it. You could do that through email automation setup, or you could do it through social media ads where people get certain triggers to encourage them once they've purchased. Again, that's your customer journey: attract, educate, convert, and retain. So if you've got any questions on some of the content that I've covered so far, again, just drop me an email. It's Danny, DANNY.cleaton, CLEATON, at Hoopla, HOOPLA-marketing.com. And again, I'll try and help with as many questions as I can. What I'll do, I have a quick little break there before I jump into the next bit. So I'll just press pause. Thanks, guys. So back on again. So I hope you found all that content useful so far. Again, what I'm going to do, I'm just going over the top level of all these things. So I will break them down into more detail for each different element. So the next bit I'm going to talk about quickly is influencer marketing. The power of influencers to create awareness, build trust, and convert your target audience into customers. Now knowing, after talking about the power of recommendations and how important they are with, your customers, people trusting word of mouth, this is how influencer marketing works so well. This is kind of what people think influencer marketing is. Love Island people talking about products, but it's not. There's different levels to influencer marketing. There's your celebrity influencers, there's your mega influencers, your macro influencers, your mid-tier influencers, your micro influencers, your nano influencers. Influencer marketing isn't a new phenomenon. It's been around for decades, if not centuries. Just what's happened now is social media, all these different software platforms, they've given people the ability to be able to be influencers, and what that's done is there's more platforms to influence people, and this is just done a massive impact to have so many influencers now, and those are different niches. There's interior influencers, there's thousands of interior influencers. There's interior influencers on stationery, there's interior influencers on hair, interior influencers on beauty. There's many niche influencers. There's influencers in gaming, video gaming, there's influencers on drawing, there's influencers on crafts, influencers on food and cooking. There's just the onset of these different social media platforms has enabled them to be so many niche influencers, which is great. And it's not just celebrities that you should be focusing on. There's people who are classified as micro influencers with an audience of 10 to 50,000 who have such an engaged audience, just because the content's personalized, they're constant. And what we see with the campaigns that we run is the micro influencers where we get the best results. You've got influencers who are present on YouTube, there's YouTube influencers, there's Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter influencers, there's influencers who have content on blogs. And basically what's happening is key influencers, thought leaders, they're experts in the field. They've developed a following of people with interests in their niche. Interior influencers, for example, have built up that following based on the content they produce. Great influencers, what they've done is developed a trusted voice, and they've built relationships with their audience through authentic storytelling, and people trust those influencers. They feel confident in what those influencers tell them, and it inspires action amongst the target audience. These influencers in all these different niches, have built up a trust with their end consumer, to the point where now nearly 50% of consumers depend on influencer recommendations when making a purchase decision, and 83% of consumers take action because of trusted recommendations. So now hopefully you understand how important influencer marketing is. It's not just Love Island people, celebrities, things like that. It's really niche influencers now, and that's what we're seeing. Is influencer marketing is getting more and more powerful, especially as social channels adopt influencer marketing now important is into their platforms, to the point where influencers can actually tag in products in the content that they produce so people can easily purchase. What I'm going to kind of go through quickly now is how to effectively implement an influencer campaign, the do's, the don'ts. Don't just focus on generic influencers like celebs, people, who don't carry any authority in your niche. What you want to be doing is, there's that many influencers out there. You need to find the ones who resonate with your audience the best. Don't look to do just one-off sponsored posts. There's no value there. You need to be making sure there's an ongoing and organic relationship with the influencers. Only work with influencers who've got a true passion for your product, brand, service. They're not just looking to go, yeah, if you pay me, I'll talk about it. The target audience will see through that. You need to people who've got a true passion for your brand. The goal here is authenticity, as this is what their audience wants from from that collaboration. They want to see through it. And working with influencers organically who've got that genuine passion for your product, your brand, that just encourages more authentic storytelling, which then engages the audience better. Don't focus on audience size, focus on engagement. The focus is on multiple influencers. Focus on multiple influencers with higher engagement to maximize your reach. Be aware of influencer fraud. Make sure you're researching, you're validating their audience. Here's an example of a kind of a process. Do the influencer research, validate them. Make sure you build a list of influencers that you want to be working with, and then engage them, get into conversations with them. And how do you measure a successful influencer campaign? What does good look like? In the past, it would have been just reach, impressions, engagement, traffic, which is great. But due to recent things with software and things like that, you can now measure an influencer campaign based on adds to cart as well, checkouts, purchases, which enables you to really scale your influencer campaigns. Here's an example of just one campaign that we did recently, where we had to go back to this. How it worked is, first of all, we got the brief from the brand on what they wanted to achieve, their objectives were. We then did the influencer research. We put together a portfolio of influencers who were all validated. They had a great audience, great engagement. They had the right target audience. We then got in conversations with them to see if they'd like the product. Did they like the brand? Did they like the service? Once we got that list together, they were approved by the brand. We then provided the influencers with all the brief, all the information they needed, trackable URLs, hashtags to use. The campaign then went live, and we were then able to monitor the traffic it generated, the reach, the content, everything. And that was then fed back to the brand, who then could see what influencers worked, what influencers weren't worked, continue to working with the influencers on an ongoing basis, so that content was just regular. And that was great. It performed perfect. Worked well for the influencer, worked well for the brand. And here's an example of one of the dashboards where we could see the views and the content, the clicks, and how much that generated for the influencers. We were also able to see the reach of the campaign, how much engagement it created, monitor all the content. Here's an example of what we did with Frenchique, where we could see all the pieces of content. This content was then compiled together and given to the brand for them to share content on their own channels, sharing that influencer content, using it in ads, things like that. And just an example of how that influencer content worked. It's, for example, is a brand called Frenchique Paint. The Frenchique Paint have been working for about 5 years. To provide furniture paint as a range of benefits. Our objective for an influencer campaign was to drive brand awareness and what's the key audiences, increase traffic, sales, and build trust for the brand and the product ranges. So we first sourced the influencers who wanted to actually take part in the campaign on the upcycling interior projects, then engaged them, see their true passion for the brand, We had about 400. We engaged about 400 influencers. We then validated their audience and engagement, and about 150 became part of the campaign, who on an ongoing basis every month were sent paying for their projects. We'd talk about it on Instagram stories, on Instagram posts, and so on. It worked. It worked really well, to the point where we were getting all this content on a daily basis. Instagram stories, um, Instagram posts, and we were then able to use a lot of this content in the actual Facebook and Instagram ads to push it even further to new audiences, knowing that this content would perform a lot better than branded content. And again, with all this, we could monitor traffic, checkouts, purchases, which enabled us to scale our influencer marketing efforts further. So I hope that all makes sense with that, and I hope, again, what I'll do is go into detail more with influencer marketing on another video. Just touching upon it in this first video that I've done. If you've got any influencer marketing challenges, please just talk about them below, drop me an email, and I'll help out as much as I can. I won't talk about the next stages today, but I hope you found that information useful. Again, it's my first video with all this going on at the minute. Working currently from the bedroom at my house with the two little ones downstairs. So I hope you found it useful. Again, drop me a comment, drop me an email if you've got any questions, and I'll join you again for the next one. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.